Addie Jacobs with Addie Jacobs Real Estate, here with Darla today with Chicago Title. And I want to know this because there's a lot of, talk going around where friends are buying property together because the interest rates are high these days and they can't maybe purchase a loan. So I wanted to talk to Darla to explain how you can hold title of your real estate deals, right? Because you don't want that screwed up when you are purchasing a property, right? Mm-hmm. So let's kind of go through them. So for instance, I have a couple that want to buy a property with a friend. So how would that be held in title? I know that it's, they need to talk to their...
Right. So the biggest thing is, as a real estate professional, as a title professional, we know what the different options are as far as vesting is concerned. And we want to make sure that we're guiding people in the right direction, giving them options, but not telling them that this is the best choice for them. Obviously, they have to talk to their CPA because everyone's situations are so different financially. So let's say you and I are buying a property together, and we have a couple of different options. So first one is we could go joint tenants. So basically that means we're both 50-50 in the property. And then if one of us passes, then automatically that 50% ownership goes to the surviving person. Okay. So you and I wouldn't want to do that because we both have kids, we have families. So we want to make sure that if something does happen, our portion would pass to our heirs. So we would want to make sure that there is a right of survivorship there. Okay.
Is it a joint with a right, or what does that look like?
Joint tenancy with rights of survivorship. Okay. That is one. There are a few different options for wording, but basically that means that right of survivorship means that if somebody passes, then that their portion would have to be either probated or it would go to their heirs, depending on what that looks like. Okay. I know your property is in a trust, so is mine. So it would be like my trust in conjunction with your trust. Correct. And then the trust would handle it from that point on. Yeah. And then there's let's say there's a couple who's married, but they're purchasing a property, but they don't both want to be on title. Well, California is a community property state. So one of them would be married, sole, and separate. And then their spouse would have to quit claim their interest away because, if something happened and they go to sell, or one of them, the person dies, the other party is not invested in it at all because they've quit claimed their rights.
And usually what would you see if why would that happen? It would be one buying the house?
Yeah, one buying the house, maybe.
The other quit claim over saying, I'm off the house?
I'm off of it. I don't want any part of it. Maybe there's, tax reasons and financially they don't want to be a part of it. I don't know, but it does happen. I mean, I've definitely seen it.
Well, I feel like I've seen that with people with even purchasing a home and their mom or dad's on it, right? If they've helped them get on and they quit claim their part off. Right. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. The other thing that I do see a lot is the tenants in common. Okay. And a lot of people confuse that with joint tenancy.
Okay, so explain it. Yeah, okay. Because it's kind of tricky.
So it's super important, again, to know what all of these options mean. So joint tenancy obviously means 50-50, and when one person dies, it automatically reverts to the other surviving person. And with tenants in common, that is not the case. Okay. So if you and I bought and we were tenants in common, and I die, then my portion does not automatically go to you. It either has to be probated or it would go to my surviving kids or whoever.
Okay, yeah. But it's kind of like a joint tenants with survivorship?
With rights. Yeah, but the tenancy in common, you're not automatically getting the other person's portion if they die or if they decide, to sell. You still own your half. So with those, there's so many different nuances in that. So that's why it's so important to, number one, get all of the options and I have a great PDF on all of the common ways to hold title, because there are a lot. If you're an investor, you want to protect your assets.
Sure.
You buy as an LLC. There are those options. Obviously, the trust is an option, but there are so many different things that might be like, oh, this is a great one for me, and then you look at something else and go, wait a minute, that might be a better choice.
Right.
Which is why it's so important to talk to your CPA and just really get those ironed out before you decide to purchase a home.
Okay, but let's say, and then there's the one like sole property, right?
The sole and separate.
Okay,
yeah,
meaning?
The married sole and separate, where you're married and you buy separately. You don't want your spouse included in the vesting or ownership of the property.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I think this is so important for people to know, because I think people just jump in, decide something, and move on. Now, let's say they wanted to change it. Can they change it?
Yeah, they can change it. And that happens a lot. I get a lot of questions on that, which is fine, and they can do that. However, I always say just be aware that there could be tax implications. The county will look at every single deed change that comes across their desk, and if you don't have the correct reason why it's a zero transfer tax, you will get supplemental income.
And there are new changes, like
taxes.
in the last few years with all this, because
Yeah.
I've heard people change them, and then they get the supplemental, which is like double their
Yes.
tax, property tax, and then like it's a shit show. So
it's really important to know, like you just can't go and record deeds, kind of like crazy. You have to know that there's implications for that.
A lot,
tax-wise.
and that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So let us know if you're interested, because drop us a DM and we can, just put title and we can get you guys that information, because this is really important when you're purchasing a house, because like I said, we're seeing a lot of different kinds of people purchasing these days. And so it might be 3 friends that are going to be on title. I know I have a friend, well, now she's a friend, she's sold her house with me, and they're looking to purchase with like 2 other people. So making sure that this is like going to work, and make sure that it's done the first time.
Well, people are getting creative, right? Because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure, if you're buying not only with, husband and wife, or if you're doing multiple people, that you're all protected.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, thanks for joining us, and let us know if you have any questions. Drop me a DM if you would like that, and the whole PDF for her, and we can get that over to you. All right, we'll talk to you later. Love that you're on my channel. Please subscribe. What's great for me too is I have a new selling guide, and it's going to help you navigate selling here in San Diego, and helps me know who you are. So download that guide here on YouTube. I would love to help you.